The alarm blared through the quiet halls of Outpost Horizon, Earth's first major diplomatic station beyond the solar system. Dr. Tae-Ho Kim looked up from his work table, where samples of alien plant life lay carefully arranged. His heart beat faster as the station's AI voice announced an unscheduled ship approach. "All senior staff report to the command center immediately," the calm voice said over the speakers. Tae-Ho quickly sealed his samples and hurried down the curved hallway. Other crew members rushed past him, their faces showing a mix of worry and excitement. Unscheduled visits were rare and often meant trouble. In the command center, Director Soon-Ji Park stood tall before the main view screen. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back tightly, and her eyes never left the image of the approaching ship. Tae-Ho joined his colleagues at the round table. "What do we know?" he asked Han-Yul, the medical officer who had become his closest friend, on the station. "It's a Kangpai ship," Han-Yul whispered, "and they're not responding to standard greeting signals." Tae-Ho felt a chill run down his spine. Everyone in known space had heard of the Kangpai. The tall-scaled predators were feared across 3 star systems. They rarely engaged in diplomacy, preferring to claim territories and defend them fiercely. Their biology made them natural hunters: sharp claws, remarkable speed, and a sense of smell that could detect fear across great distances. "The ship appears damaged," said Ji-Won, the security chief. Her hand rested near her sidearm, a habit from years of service. Scans show multiple hull breaches and failing life support. Director Park turned to face her team. "They've just sent a message, audio only." She nodded to Dae-hyun, the communications specialist, who tapped his console. A harsh clicking voice filled the room, broken by the translation software into choppy English. "Humans, we request emergency landing. We carry young ones, adults wounded, cannot protect anymore, need safe place." The message ended with a series of untranslatable sounds that might have been pain or desperation. Silence fell over the command center. The Kangpai were asking for help. More than that, they were bringing their children to humans for protection. "It could be a trap," Ji-Won said, breaking the silence. "The Kangpai have never shown any trust toward other species. Why start now?" "Because they're desperate," Tae-Ho replied. As the station's xenobiologist, he had studied all available data on known alien species. Kangpai never leave their young with others. Never. If they're asking us to help, they must have no other choice. Director Park paced before the view screen. The damaged ship grew larger as it approached. "Scan for weapons signatures. None active," Ji-Won reported after a moment. "But their ship design includes natural weapon systems, even if they're not powered up." "How many life signs?" the director asked. Dae-hyun checked his readings. 3 adult Kangpai, all showing signs of serious injury. And he paused, adjusting his scanner. 12 smaller life signs. Children, I assume. All appear healthy. "They're dying," Han-Yul said softly, looking at the medical data on her tablet. "The adults. Those injury patterns suggest severe internal damage. I'm surprised they're still conscious." Director Park took a deep breath. In her 10 years leading diplomatic missions, she had never faced a decision like this. The Kangpai were dangerous, unpredictable, and had no formal relations with Earth. Taking in their young could be seen as interference by other alien powers. Refusing them could condemn children to death. "Prepare docking bay 3, she ordered. "Medical team on standby. Security presence, but weapons set to non-lethal only." She raised her hand to stop Ji-Won's protest before it started. "These are children, Chief, and their parents are dying. We will not turn them away." The Kangpai ship limped into the docking bay, trailing cooling gases from its damaged hull. Up close, the vessel looked even worse. Its outer armor scorched black in places with jagged holes torn through its side. Whatever had attacked them had been powerful and merciless. Tae-Ho stood with Han-Yul and a medical team behind a safety line. 6 security officers formed a loose half-circle around the ship's exit ramp. When the airlock cycled open, everyone tensed. The first Kangpai to appear was clearly the leader. Nearly 7 feet tall with gray-green scales covering a muscular frame. She moved with obvious pain. Dark purple blood seeped through makeshift bandages wrapped around her torso. Behind her, 2 other adults followed, each carrying several small bundles in their arms. The leader fixed her 4 golden eyes on Director Park and spoke, her translator device converting her clicks and hisses into rough English. "I am Kara. Our clan was attacked by the Orcs, ancient enemies. We fought so the young could escape." She swayed slightly. "Our ship cannot travel further. Adults will not survive long." "We'll help you," Director Park said firmly. "Our medical team will—" "No time for us," Kara interrupted. "We give our young to humans. You have reputation. Other species say humans protect the small ones, even those not your own." This revelation stunned the gathered humans. Despite limited contact with Earth, the Kangpai had heard something about human nature that gave them hope. The other 2 adults moved forward, finally revealing what they carried. The young Kangpai were smaller versions of their parents, about the size of human 3-year-olds. Their scales were brighter, almost blue, and they had only 2 eyes instead of 4. They chirped softly to each other, clearly frightened, but not panicking. "Why us?" Taeho couldn't help asking. There must be other Kangpai clans who could take them. Kara's inner eyelids blinked slowly. Too far. No time. And clan wars. Young without parents become tools in power struggles. She stepped closer, to Taeho, seeming to sense his scientific curiosity. You will learn our ways? Care for them properly?" Before Taeho could answer, Kara suddenly dropped to one knee, a growl of pain escaping her. The young ones chirped louder, distressed by their guardian's suffering. "Yes," Taeho said, moving forward despite Hanul's warning hand on his arm. "I will learn. We will care for them." Kara rose shakily and placed her large, clawed hand on Taeho's head. He felt a strange buzzing sensation as her claw tips pressed lightly against his scalp. "I give you knowledge," she said. "Not complete, but enough to start." Images flooded Taeho's mind. Hunting techniques, sleeping habits, the taste of particular foods, warning signs of illness. Not organized information, but raw experiences and instincts. When Kara removed her hand, he gasped and staggered back. "For their safety," Kara said, her voice growing weaker. "Tell no one else you have them." Enemies would come. She looked at her children one last time. Teach them of their heritage, but also teach them your human ways. Perhaps, together, better than either alone. The 3 adult Kangpai carefully placed their young on the deck. The children huddled together, watching with wide eyes as their guardians bowed deeply to the humans. Then, without another word, the adults turned and limped back into their ship. "Wait," Director Park called. "Let us help you." But the ship's ramp was already closing. Minutes later, despite the station's attempts to hold it with tractor beams, the damaged vessel slipped away and engaged its failing engines one last time. It streaked toward the nearby sun in a final blaze of light. On the docking bay floor, 12 young Kakangpai stood in a protective circle. The oldest stepped forward, looking directly at Taeho. "You keep safe?" the young one asked in broken English. Taeho knelt down to meet the child's eyes. "Yes, we'll keep you safe." Behind him, Director Park was already issuing orders, arranging quarters and resources for their unexpected guests. Hanul was scanning the children with medical equipment, while Dae-hyun attempted to communicate with simple words and gestures. The greatest trust experiment in human-alien relations had begun. 3 days had passed since the Kangpai young arrived at Outpost Horizon. The station hummed with nervous energy as crew members adjusted to their new role as caretakers to alien predator children. Dr. Taeho Kim sat in the makeshift nursery that had once been a storage bay. He watched the 12 Kangpai youngsters explore their new space. They moved with surprising grace for children, climbing the padded walls and sniffing everything with their sensitive noses. "Any progress understanding what Kara shared with you?" Hanul asked as she entered the room. She carried a tray of what looked like raw meat cut into small pieces. Taeho rubbed his temples. The mental download from the Kangpai leader had left him with fragments of knowledge that came to him in flashes. It's like trying to remember a dream. I get feelings and instincts more than clear information. The largest of the young Kangpai approached them. This one had been the first to speak to Tai-ho. The humans had named her Tala after she made a similar sound when pointing to herself. "Food time?" Tala asked, her head tilted to one side. Her English improved daily, much faster than any human child could learn. "Yes, food time," Hanyul said with a smile. She set the tray down on a low table. Tala made a chirping sound, and the other children gathered quickly. They formed a neat line, with the smallest at the front. Tae-ho found this behavior fascinating. The information from Kara suggested that young Kakangpai typically fought for food, with the strongest eating first. "They're adapting to us," he said quietly to Hanyul. "In the wild they wouldn't share like this." "Is that good or bad?" Hanyul wondered. "Are we changing who they are?" Before Tae-ho could answer, Director Park's voice came over the station's comm system. "Senior staff meeting in 10 minutes. Conference room 1. Tae-ho sighed. These meetings had become daily events as they tackled the many challenges of caring for their new guests. He left Hanyul supervising the meal and headed to the meeting. "Earth Command is not happy," Director Park said as soon as the door closed behind Tai-ho. Her usually calm face showed lines of worry. "They believe we should have consulted them before accepting the Kangpai young." Ji-wan, the security chief, crossed her arms. "I told you this would happen. Taking in these children has political implications." "They were dying," Dae-hyun argued. "What were we supposed to do? Let children die while waiting for permission?" "Director." Park raised a hand to stop the argument. "What's done is done, but now we face a more immediate problem." She tapped her tablet and a message appeared on the main screen. "Earth Command wants us to transfer the young to a research facility on Earth." A shocked silence fell over the room. "They're not research subjects," Tae-ho said finally, his voice tight with anger. "They're children placed in our care by their parents, who are now dead," Ji-won pointed out. "The Kangpai ship's energy signature disappeared into the sun. There's no one to claim these children except us, or Earth Command." Tae-ho thought of Tala and the others. In just 3 days, they had begun to trust their human caretakers. Moving them to a research facility would betray that trust. "There's another problem," Hanyul said. She had just entered the room looking worried. "The synthetic protein mix isn't working. The children need real meat, and lots of it. Their bodies are designed to process raw food, preferably freshly killed." "Director," Park frowned. "Our supplies of real meat are limited. We weren't set up for this." "I might have a solution," Tae-ho said slowly. An image had flashed in his mind, one of Kara's memories. The Kangpai raise small animals for their young to hunt. It teaches them skills while providing food. "You want us to create a hunting ground for predator aliens on my station?" Ji-won looked horrified. "Not real animals," Tae-ho clarified. "We could use the holographic training room. Program simple prey animals. The children would get exercise and mental stimulation, and we could provide real meat at the end of the hunt as a reward." Director Park considered this. "That might work for their development needs, but it doesn't solve our political problem." Dae-hyun, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. "What if we stall? Tell Earth Command we need time to prepare the children for transport. That gives us time to prove they're better off here." "And how do we prove that?" Ji-won asked. "By showing that we understand them better than anyone else could," Tae-ho said. "I have pieces of Kangpai knowledge in my head." "No, research facility has that." Director Park nodded slowly. "I'll buy us 2 weeks. After that, I'll need concrete results to show why the children should stay here." As the meeting ended, an alarm suddenly blared through the station. The lights flickered, and the artificial gravity wavered for a moment. Section 4 reports. "An oxygen recycler malfunction," the station AI announced. "Toxic gas detected." "That's near the nursery," Han-Nul gasped. She and Tae-ho ran from the room, followed closely by the others. They found chaos in the corridor outside the nursery. 3 crew members lay unconscious on the floor. The air had a sharp, burning smell. Through the viewing window, Tae-ho could see the young Kangpai huddled together in the center of the room, seemingly unaffected by the gas. The ventilation system must have reversed, Ji-won said, checking the fallen crew members. Instead of pulling the gas out, it pushed it into the corridor. But how did they know to stay in the center of the room? Director Park wondered. Tai-ho remembered another of Kara's memories, Kangpai Young instinctively gathering together when danger threatened. They can smell danger better than our sensors can detect it. They knew something was wrong before our systems did. As they watched, Tala approached the door and pressed her face to the window. She pointed to her nose, then made a pushing motion away from the nursery. She's telling us they smelled the danger and avoided it, Tai-ho realized. Ji-won stared at the children with new respect. They could have opened the door and escaped. They know how the mechanisms work, but they didn't. They kept the gas contained to protect the rest of the station. Medical teams arrived to treat the affected crew members. As the situation came under control, Director Park pulled Tai-ho aside. "Do you understand what just happened?" she asked quietly. "Those children didn't just protect themselves. They protected us. That's not normal predator behavior." "No," Tai-ho agreed. "It's not. Kara gave her children to us because she believed humans could teach them something different. But maybe they have things to teach us too." Later that night, as Tai-ho sat with the young Kangpai during their rest period, Tala approached him. She carried something in her small clawed hand. "For you," she said, placing a small metal object in his palm. It was a scale, one that had fallen from Kara's body during their brief meeting. "Why give this to me?" Tai-ho asked gently. Tala's two eyes blinked slowly. "Mother chose you. We choose you too." The other young ones gathered around, each touching the scale in Tai-ho's hand. He didn't need Kara's memories to understand the significance. These children were forming a new clan, with humans as part of their family. The weight of this trust felt heavier than ever. Earth Command wanted to take them away in 2 weeks. Somehow, Tai-ho had to convince them that breaking this trust would be a terrible mistake, not just for these 12 children, but for humanity's place in the galaxy. 3 months passed quickly on Outpost Horizon. The station had changed in many ways since the arrival of the young Kakangpei. What had once been storage rooms and unused labs now formed a small habitat designed for growing predator children. Dr. Tai-ho Kim stood at the edge of the holographic training room, watching as Tala led her siblings in a hunting exercise. The room projected images of a grassy plain with small animals moving through tall grass. The Kangpai children moved with impressive speed and coordination, working together to corner their virtual prey. "They're getting better," Hanul said, joining Tai-ho at the observation window. "Their teamwork is remarkable." Tai-ho nodded. "It's not just their hunting skills. Have you noticed how they solve problems together now? That's not typical Kakangpai behavior from what Kara shared with me." The exercise ended, and the children gathered around Tai-ho and Hanul, their scales shimmering with excitement. Tala, now noticeably taller than when she arrived, stepped forward. "Good hunt today?" she asked in nearly perfect English. All the young ones had mastered the language with surprising speed. "Very good," Tai-ho replied, "especially how you helped Miro catch his target." Miro was the smallest of the group and had struggled with speed. Today, Tala had guided the others to herd prey toward him, giving him the chance to make the catch. Tala made a clicking sound that Tai-ho now recognized as Kangpai laughter. "All eat or none eat," human saying. "Good saying." Hanul smiled. "That's all for one and one for all, but your version works too." As they led the children to the dining area, Tai-ho reflected on how far they had come. The first weeks had been difficult. The young ones had fought over food and space. They had tested boundaries constantly. Some crew members had been scratched or bitten before the children learned proper behavior around humans. Now, 12 weeks later, the Kakangpai young moved easily among the human crew. They helped with simple tasks, learned about Earth and other planets, and even played games with off-duty personnel. They were still predators. Their diet of raw meat and their sharp-toothed smiles reminded everyone of that fact. But they were also children adapting to a new way of life. After the meal, Tae-ho received a message from Director Park requesting his presence in her office immediately. When he arrived, he found her looking more serious than usual. "Earth Command is sending a ship," she said without preamble. "It will arrive in 5 days." Tae-ho felt his stomach tighten. "To take the children?" "Director," Park nodded. "The order came directly from the Science Division. They're establishing a Xenospecies Development Center on Earth. Our young friends will be the first residents." "They can't do this," Tae-ho protested. "These children aren't research subjects. They were placed in our care by their parents." "I've made that argument repeatedly over the past 3 months," Director Park said, her voice tired. "My latest request for an extension was denied. They're sending a specialist team to transport the children." Tae-ho paced the small office. "Do they understand what they're risking? The Kangpai trusted humans with their most precious possession, their future generation. If word spreads that we betrayed that trust—" "I know," Director Park said, quietly. "But we're just an outpost. We don't make policy." "What about the children? How will they react?" Tae-ho asked, thinking of Tala and the others who had come to see the station as their home. Before Director Park could answer, an alarm sounded. The station's AI voice announced, "Warning. Unknown energy signature detected in Section 7. All personnel clear the area." They rushed to the command center where Ji-won was coordinating the response. "What's happening?" Director Park demanded. "We're not sure," Ji-won replied. "The sensors detected an energy spike in one of the lab sections. It doesn't match anything in our database." "Where are the children?" Tae-ho asked urgently. Dae-hyun checked the internal tracking system. "They're in Section 6, right next to the affected area." Without waiting for orders, Tae-ho ran from the command center. He heard Director Park calling after him, but he didn't stop. If the children were in danger, he needed to reach them. When he arrived at Section 6, he found an unexpected scene. Instead of panic, the young Kangpai were lined up outside the sealed door to Section 7. Tala stood at the front, her head tilted as if she was listening to something. "Tala, you need to move back," Tae-ho said urgently. "There's danger here." Tala shook her head. "No danger now. We fixed it." "Fixed what?" "How?" Tae-ho asked, confused. "The singing machine," another child, Soren, explained. "It was singing wrong, hurting our ears." Tae-ho was baffled until he realized what they meant. "The quantum resonance chamber? That's highly experimental equipment. Even our scientists don't fully understand it." Tala nodded. "Sound waves wrong, making bad pattern. We heard, sent right pattern back." Ji-won arrived with a security team, followed by Hanul. They approached cautiously. "The energy signature is gone," Ji-won reported, checking her scanner. Whatever was happening, it stopped. Hanul knelt beside Soren. "How did you send the right pattern back?" The young Kangpai made a series of clicks and whistles demonstrating how they had used their natural vocal abilities to create a counterbalance to the dangerous resonance pattern. "That's impossible," Ji-won whispered. "They essentially neutralized a quantum cascade failure by singing to it?" Tae-ho thought back to the fragments of knowledge Kara had shared. Kangpai have always used sound as both weapon and tool. Their hearing is far more sensitive than ours. They must have detected the problem before our instruments could. Later that day, after the lab had been secured and the equipment examined, Director Park called another meeting. The science team confirmed what the children had done. They had prevented a potentially catastrophic equipment failure through their natural abilities. "I've sent a full report to Earth Command," Director Park told Tae-ho. "I emphasized how the children not only detected the problem our sensors missed, but also solved it in a way our scientists couldn't have. Will it make a difference?" Tae-ho asked. "I don't know," she admitted. "But I included something else." Each crew member submitted a personal statement about their interactions with the children. Many described how they've learned from them, formed bonds with them. That night, Tae-ho sat with the children during their rest period. As had become their custom, they gathered in a circle to share stories. Tonight, Tala asked about Earth. "Why some humans want to take us there?" she asked directly. Teho hesitated, unsure how to explain politics to a child. Some humans think they could learn from you, and they might be right, but they don't understand that learning should go both ways. Tala considered this. We learn from you, you learn from us. Better together. Yes, Teho agreed. Better together. Tala touched the scale she now wore on a cord around her neck, the same scale she had given to Teho months ago, which he had returned to her as a symbol of their connection. If they take us, she said softly, we still remember. Still your clan. The other children echoed her sentiment, using both English words and Kangpei sounds. Teho felt both pride and sadness. These remarkable children had adapted so well, had trusted so completely. In just 3 months, they had changed how everyone on the station viewed alien species. As the children settled into sleep, Teho received an urgent message on his tablet. It was from Director Park. Message from Earth Command. Transport ship. Diverted. New instructions incoming. Meeting at Oro 600. Teho looked at the sleeping children, hope rising in his chest. Perhaps humans could learn to honor trust after all. Long-range sensors have detected something, Jiwan announced, her voice tight with concern. Multiple ships approaching from the Kangpei home system. The command center fell silent. 6 months had passed since the young Kangpei had arrived at Outpost Horizon. In that time, the children had become part of the station's life. Earth Command had delayed their decision about moving the children after the quantum resonance incident. They had sent scientists instead, who studied how the young ones had prevented the disaster. Director Park moved to the main screen, her face serious. How many ships? 7 large vessels. Warship class, Jiwan replied. They'll reach us in 3 days. Teho felt his heart sink. Could it be a rescue party? Maybe some of their clan survived? Daehyun shook his head. The original adults said they were the last of their clan. These must be from another clan or faction. Or enemies who learned. There are Kangpei young here, Jiwan added darkly. Director Park straightened her uniform. We need to prepare for all possibilities, increase our defensive shields, and someone needs to tell the children. I'll do it, Teho volunteered. As he walked to the education room where the children spent their mornings, Teho tried to organize his thoughts. How would they react to news that other Kangpei were coming? Would they be happy? Afraid? After 6 months with humans, would they even recognize their own kind? He found the 12 young ones gathered around Hanul, who was teaching them about Earth's oceans. The children had grown remarkably in half a year. Tala now stood at Teho's shoulder, her scales developing the deeper green that marked Kangpei, adulthood. Dr. Kim needs to speak with you, Hanul said, noting his serious expression. She left the room, closing the door behind her. Tala approached Teho, her head slightly tilted. This had become her way of showing concern. Bad news? Not necessarily bad, Teho said carefully, but important. Ships are coming from the Kangpei home system. The reaction was immediate. The children made various sounds, some that seemed like excitement, others more like worry. They gathered closer together, a protective behavior Teho had seen less often as they grew more comfortable on the station. More Kangpei coming here, why? Tala asked. We don't know yet, Teho admitted. They haven't communicated with us. Soran, who had become the most technically minded of the group, asked, could they be looking for us? It's possible, Teho said. Would that be good or bad? The children exchanged glances, communicating in their native language. Finally, Tala spoke for the group. Depends which clan. Some clans fight with our clan, some are friends. Can you tell which clan from their ships? Teho asked hopefully. Maybe. We need to see ships, Tala replied. 2 days later, the station was on high alert. The approaching Kangpei fleet had not responded to any communication attempts. As tension grew, something unexpected happened. The medical team reported that the 3 adult Kangpei who had arrived with the children, the ones everyone believed had died, were showing signs of life. It's not possible, Hanyul said as she showed Taeho and Director Park the medical readings. They've been in stasis pods for 6 months with minimal life support. We thought they were brain dead. Could the approach of other Kangpai have triggered something? Director Park wondered. Or maybe they were healing all this time, just very slowly, Taeho suggested. The lead adult, Kara, was the first to open her eyes. Her body was thin and weak after months in stasis, but her 4 golden eyes were alert. She recognized Taeho immediately. The young ones? She asked, her voice raspy from disuse. Safe. Healthy. Growing well, Taeho assured her. They'll be so happy to see you alive. Kara tried to sit up but lacked the strength. The approaching ships, you must know, they are the High Clan, our clan leaders. Are they coming for the children? Director Park asked. Yes. They believe we all died. When our ship flew into the sun, they would have detected it. Kara paused, gathering strength. Our distress beacon must have reached them eventually. They come to honor our memory, perhaps to seek revenge against those who attacked us. Taeho felt a mix of emotions. He was overjoyed that Kara and the other adults had survived, but he also felt a strange sadness at the thought of the children leaving. They had become part of the station's family. We should tell them you're alive immediately, Director Park said. It might prevent any misunderstanding when they arrive. Kara shook her head weakly. No, let me see the young ones first. I need to know how they have changed. The reunion between the adult Kangpai and the children was both joyful and strange. The young ones recognized their original guardians but approached cautiously. They had changed in 6 months, not just physically but in how they moved, how they communicated. Kara watched them with all 4 eyes wide, especially when Tala stepped forward and spoke in clear English. We thought you joined the ancestors, Tala said. We made a new clan here with humans, but we kept your teachings too. Kara touched Tala's face gently. Show me what you have learned. For the next hour, the children demonstrated their new skills. They showed how they used human technology, spoke multiple languages, and worked together in ways that traditional Kakangpai rarely did. They explained how they had helped save the station during the quantum resonance incident. When they finished, Kara turned to Taeho. You have done more than keep them alive. You have helped them grow in new ways. They taught us as much as we taught them, Taeho said honestly. Kara nodded slowly. This is why we chose humans. Other species would have trained them as weapons or used them as bargaining tools. You treated them as children first. An alarm interrupted their conversation. Jiwon's voice came over the comm system. The Kangpai fleet has dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're hailing us. In the command center, the main screen showed a massive Kangpai male. His scales were almost black with age, and he wore elaborate armor decorated with what looked like battle trophies. I am war leader Karan of the High Clan, he announced. We have come for the young of Kara's hunting party. If they live, return them. If they died in your care, prepare for justice. Director Park started to reply, but Kara stepped forward, supported by 2 human crew members. She was still weak but determined to stand. War leader, she said formally. I am Kara. I live, as do my hunting partners. The humans have protected our young as we asked them to. The war leader's expression changed from threatening to shocked. Kara, the beacon from your ship indicated total destruction. We sent the empty ship into the sun as a decoy, Kara explained. Our injuries were severe. We entered healing sleep while the humans cared for our young. And the young ones? They are well? The war leader demanded. At this, Tala and the other children entered the command center. They arranged themselves in the formal Kangpai greeting, position that Taeho had taught them from Kara's memories. We are well, Tala said in the Kangpai language, then switched to English. We have learned many things. Humans have been our teachers and our clan. The war leader's eyes narrowed at the use of human language. These children speak as humans do? They have been changed. They have grown, Kara corrected firmly. They have become more than traditional Kangpai. They understand cooperation in ways our people never have. Teho held his breath. Among predator species, change was often viewed with suspicion. Would the war leader see this as corruption of their ways or as valuable new skills? After a long silence, the war leader spoke again. I will come aboard with my advisors. I wish to see this human teaching for myself. As the screen went dark, Director Park whispered to Teho, "Is that good or bad?" Kara, who overheard, answered instead, "It is unprecedented. The war leader never boards alien vessels." She looked at the children with something like pride. "He is curious. In our culture, that is better than good." Tala stepped close to Teho and took his hand in her clawed one. "Don't worry," she said softly. "We will show them that humans and Kangpai are stronger together than apart." As they prepared to receive the Kangpai delegation, Teho realized that the greatest test of trust was yet to come. 1 year had passed since the visit of war leader Karan to Outpost Horizon. The station had changed beyond recognition. What had once been a quiet diplomatic outpost was now a bustling center for interspecies cooperation. Teho stood in the new observation deck, watching as a small ship docked. This was the third arrival today. The ship bore the markings of the Voltari, a species known for their technological skills and extreme caution around other life forms. "Another delivery of young ones?" Director Park asked, joining him at the window. "Yes," Teho replied. "2 Voltari children. Their parents were killed in a mining accident. The clan elders specifically requested that they be brought here." Director Park smiled. "That makes 17 alien children now under our care, from 4 different species. And more requests coming in every month," Teho added. They watched as the airlock opened. 2 small figures emerged, their skin a pale blue with silver markings. They looked nervous, clutching small bags of belongings. Behind them came a much older Voltari, who would hand over the children before returning home. "I never imagined we'd become the galaxy's most trusted babysitters," Director Park said with a small laugh. "It started with trust," Teho said. "The Kangpai trusted us when they had no other option. Now other species trust us by choice." The meeting with war leader Karan a year ago had changed everything. The powerful Kangpai leader had been skeptical, at first watching the young ones with critical eyes. "They behave differently," he had said to Kara. "They have lost their competitive edge." "No," Kara had replied firmly. "They have gained something new. Watch them hunt." In the holographic training room, the 12 young Kangpai had demonstrated their skills. They moved with perfect coordination, using strategy and teamwork that impressed even the war leader. Traditional Kangpai hunting. "The strongest eats first," Kara had explained. "Here, they ensure all are fed. They are stronger together than any single hunter could be alone." The war leader had been most impressed when young Tala showed him records of the quantum resonance incident. The children had used their natural abilities in ways no Kangpai had tried before. They saved many lives, Teho had told him, both human and their own. After 3 days of observation, war leader Koran had made an unexpected announcement. Instead of taking the children back to the Kangpai homeworld, he proposed something new, a permanent exchange program. Some of the children would return with him to teach their new skills to other Kangpai. In return, more young ones would come to learn from humans. "Our species has survived by being the strongest predators," he had said. "But perhaps there is strength in this human way too." That decision had opened a door. When word spread through the galaxy that the fierce Kangpai had entrusted their young to humans, and that those young had thrived, other species took notice. In the main education center, Tai Ho found Tala teaching a group of younger aliens. Now fully grown at 7 feet tall, she was an impressive figure. Yet she spoke gently to her students, who included Kakangpai, Voltari, and even 2 Meridian floating juveniles. "Humans taught us that hunting is not just about catching prey," she was explaining. "It is about understanding all life. Sometimes the strongest choice is not to hunt at all." Teho smiled at this. It was a lesson that had taken time for the Kangpai children to learn, that their natural predatory instincts could be controlled and channeled. "Dr. Kim," one of the small Kangpai called out when they saw him, "Tala is teaching us about Earth's oceans. The great predators there live in balance," Tala continued. "Without balance, all life suffers. This is what humans understand that many other species do not." Later, as Tala walked with Tae-ho to the dining hall, she shared news. "From home, the exchange program is working well. 6 of our original group now teach at the High Clan Academy. Even war leader Karan sits in on their lessons." "And the other 6? Tae-ho asked. "Like me, they chose to stay here," Tala said. "We are the bridge between worlds." That evening, a special message arrived from Earth Command. As the senior staff gathered in the conference room, Director Park read it aloud. "In recognition of the unprecedented success of the Outpost Horizon Interspecies Youth Program, Earth Government has approved the establishment of 3 new centers based on your model. Dr. Tae-ho Kim is appointed Director of Interspecies Education for the newly formed Galactic Cooperation Initiative." Everyone applauded. Tae-ho felt both proud and humbled. What had begun as an emergency decision to help dying aliens had grown into something that was changing relations between species across known space. "There's more," Director Park continued. "The Kangpai High Council, along with representatives from the Voltari Collective and the Meridian Float, have proposed the creation of neutral nurseries in disputed territories. These would be places where young from various species, even traditional enemies, could be raised together under human guidance." Han Yul, who now served as chief medical officer for all the alien children, nodded in approval. "The early results from our mixed species classes show that prejudices disappear when different species grow up together." "It's not just about child care," Dae-hyun added. "It's about creating a new generation that sees beyond species divisions." "And it all started with trust," Ji-won said. The once skeptical security chief had become one of the strongest supporters of the program. The simple act of trusting humans with their young changed everything. Later that night, Tae-ho stood alone in the nursery where new arrivals stayed during their first weeks. The 2 Voltari children were sleeping soundly, already adapting to their new home. His tablet beeped with an incoming message. It was from Soren, one of the original Kakangpai who had returned to their home world. The message contained an image of a new addition to the official Galactic Species Registry. Under the entry for humans, a new designation had been added: the Trusted Ones. As Tae-ho read those words, he heard movement behind him. Tala had entered quietly, as was her way. "We received a strange message today," she said. "A species called the Shadowkin has requested to send their eggs to us." "I've never heard of the Shadowkin," Tae-ho said, puzzled. "No one has seen them for 1,000 years, Tala explained. "They are said to be the oldest predatory species in the galaxy. They have watched from the shadows as other species fought and failed to find balance. And now they want to send their young to us?" Tae-ho couldn't hide his surprise. Tala nodded. Their message was simple. "We have watched. We have learned. We entrust our legacy to humans." Tae-ho looked around at the sleeping children, the future of their respective species, all under one roof. What made humans different? He wondered aloud. Why did so many species come to trust us? "Because you care," Tala said simply. "Other species conquer, or trade, or study. Humans care, even for those not your own." Outside the window, stars stretched across the vastness of space. Somewhere out there, ancient predators had decided that humans, a young species from a small blue planet, were worthy of their greatest trust. "Will you accept them?" Tala asked. "The Shadowkin eggs?" "Yes," Tae-ho replied without hesitation. "We'll care for them like all the others." As they stood together watching over the sleeping children, human and Kangpai side by side, Tae-ho realized that they had discovered something profound. In a galaxy full of hunters and prey, the greatest strength of all was not teeth or claws or weapons. It was the ability to trust and to be worthy of that trust. The end.